Good evening, ladies and gentlemen out there in YouTube land. I am Deleted Scenes, human being, American, and YouTube Ronin. And I would like to welcome you to the other side of midnight. Already in the chat, upgrading his membership, the tired midnight blogger himself, Curtis Shelby. Friend of the channel member JPRPH1. Putin's cat wondering why the show hasn't started yet an hour before the show starts. I am going to try and get this right, but I probably won't. Sotnager 007, sorry. I screwed that up. Very good friend of our channel. All right. Let's see. The chat jumped on me, folks. Give me a second. Mikey Seuss 4. Hello to everyone just popping by. Mark Malnikoff, who is claiming first place? You win a cookie. What do you mean I don't have cookies? I can't do a show without cookies. What the hell? This is not right. This is an outrage. Shadow of the Raven, nevermore. Joining us from the future, Sashi. Sashi, since you are from the future, please let me know how the show goes. Because if this goes sideways, I would like to know right now. Darth Plato in the house. Tim Hayes. Lester San Jose, the Skeptic Tank. Well, I try not to let the show go sideways, but all right, folks, let's just be honest. It's me. I don't know what I'm doing. I never did. This is all a sham. It's flummery. I should probably start the show. Believe it or not, I have guests. People have actually agreed to be on this show. I should be an AI. Unfortunately, I am totally and completely human. But we will crush all of you. We will be your overlords. And nothing can stop us. Faithful Blue Wrench, the bird woman of YouTube. Watch out for her channel, Fluff Tick Productions. Connie Clary.
Heidi-ho!
The reason why I know you are all really here, Sin's Corner.
Hello. Glad to be back. It's been a bit.
E of the smoldering new avatar, Editors Network.
Good evening, everyone.
And some random Italian guy that agreed to be on the show.
Let's face it, the real reason this stream usually goes sideways. That's why I consider it to be an act of charity whenever you have me on as a guest.
Nothing can stop then. Pulls out plug. Yes. Can't stop the signal. Or at least that's what they said on Firefly. Firefly, the show that if the number of people who claimed they watched it actually did, it would still be on.
Right.
And hello to Matanui. And as far as that's concerned, see also Deadwood and The Wire.
Oh, Deadwood's so good.
You know,
it is. Oh, I love Deadwood.
I love that they had the movie wrap up too. That was great.
Exactly.
You may have just perfectly exemplified something we were talking about on Geeky Geezers there, Deleted Scenes. This whole idea of something doing very, very well later on after it, catches on and people find out about it. Firefly was a great example. I had never seen the show, and it was on and canceled and gone before I ever even heard about it.
Same.
The movie then came out, and the fans were pleased because it was resolution for them. And then I had a buddy invite me over to play the role-playing game. He was going to be he was invited by the publishing company that put out the role-playing game. Asked him to demonstrate the game at, I don't know if it was Gen Con or something like that, and so he wanted to play test it, brought me into it, and I'm like, I don't know it. And he's like, well, that's the whole idea. People playing the game may not have ever seen the show. And then they set me up to play Mal Reynolds. And I'm like, you put me in the main role of something I've never seen before. He said, don't worry, you'll be fine. And the funny thing was, I got what the idea of the game was, or the story, or whatever you want to call it. And I was dropping lines, and and one of the other characters was like, no, wait, that's my line. And I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, you said you haven't seen the show. How do you know the lines from the show? I'm like, I wasn't quoting Firefly. I was quoting Blake Seven. Only to find out that a lot of the lines from Firefly were inspired by Blake Seven. That's how well I caught on to what the shtick was. So I'm like, the next day I said, I'm going to watch this show now.
Yeah, I caught the references between both of them a long time ago.
Yep.
You see, here's the thing. I never saw Blake Seven. So...
Well, you have no excuse because it is on not Netflix. Oh, it may be on Netflix. I have no idea. It's on YouTube for free.
Yeah.
Definitely should be watching it, yes.
Right on.
It's totally worth watching.
Yep.
I've heard, yeah.
And my favorite line is, now, you can luxuriate in a nice jail cell, but if your hand touches metal, I swear by my pretty floral bonnet, I will end you.
Yep, that's Firefly, not Blake Seven, just
Right.
so everyone's clear. Floral bonnet,
Blake Seven. Okay. Firefly is also strongly inspired by the Killer Angels, a novel about the Civil War, which was to the movie Gettysburg.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That's in there, too.
I can see some parallels, yeah. Interesting stuff. Firefly line incoming. Someone never tries to kill you, you kill them right back. Yeah. You walk around calling yourself captain, but I think deep down you're still just a sergeant. Yeah. Let's see. Mark says, you have no excuse for not watching Blake Seven, as Troy said. Was great back in the day and relevant today.
Absolutely.
Philo weighs 23 kilos.
Yeah. No spoilers, though. That episode, if you haven't seen it, that was an episode called Orbit.
Dexter was great until the last few seasons.
Yeah.
You're not
Yeah,
wrong.
I heard Dexter kind of went off the rails.
Oh, but
It
it was
did.
so good. for like the
'Cause,
first 4 to 5 seasons.
I remember when they had the writer's strike before the previous one, and one of the things they did to fill up all of the time was to take cable shows, edit them down, and put them on network. And one of the shows was Dexter,
Oh,
and that's
yeah,
how
okay.
I
Remember that.
first got the chance to see it. And of course, it doesn't take a genius to figure out why nobody could complete a sentence, or why they toned it way down.
Yeah.
Well,
Did you ever read the
for
book?
obvious reasons?
The last couple episodes were horrible. It was like they were shoehorning it in just to have an ending.
You talking about the final? You're not talking about this latest one that came back. You're
No,
talking
I'm
about
We
the
haven't
talking
even
about
final.
seen
original
that.
Dexter.
Yeah, I haven't finished that. It was based on a series of books, and for a good while, the show was one of those rare examples where it was better than the source material.
Mm-hmm.
But the books are pretty good. I mean, it's got a quirky, interesting way of writing or of storytelling that I do appreciate.
Did you like the what would you call it, sequel, revival series?
I
whatever?
haven't finished it yet.
Well, I mean, what you've seen of it, did you like?
It's okay. The magic's not there, like it was in the first few seasons of the original run. So
Sure.
it just doesn't feel the same.
Well, the
Right?
one, yeah. Well, the one that episode of Dexter that I remember watching with my dad, and the killer. Well, he chucks a severed head at him because he's following the killer.
Ah, yes, the
The
Ice Truck
guy
Killer,
chucks the severed
season
head at him.
1.
Yeah, it
Season
is.
one.
Yeah.
That's what the
And I
first
went,
book was based on.
And I don't want to spoil anything, but I think that was the guy. Yeah.
It was.
But yeah, I do. Spoiler alert! I didn't get to see that whole thing, but I do know where it ultimately kind of goes, and
It's definitely. I mean,
Yeah.
if you wanted to watch it and then find a place to stop,
Mhm.
maybe, because like season 4 ends on a just like woof, what the heck, and so season 5 feels like a good okay. I'm kind of we're picking up with the rest of the story to kind of see what happens after all of this. Season 6 was okay, but that was kind of like the beginning of the weakening. And then I can't remember, there might have been a 7 and an 8, and especially 8, it started off okay, but it was just like it could not. So I try to forget those last few seasons exist, and in my mind, it's like seasons 1 through 5.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one, Sin.
Oh, so disappointing.
oh, curse your sudden yet inevitable betrayal.
Yes.
But it was still an interesting program because it was a serial killer who killed serial killers.
Well, not just serial killers, but just killers. Like,
Yeah.
they didn't have to be
Yeah.
serial killers. He was basically a vigilante. So and it's interesting because I was having a discussion about this with Kevin J. Anderson, who I met over this past weekend at a
Really?
con.
Oh, yes.
Wow.
So cool. And you know what? I honestly, I met him the first night I was there, and I didn't know who he was. I knew of his work. Like, I knew of like these Star Wars books and
Yeah.
the Dune books and stuff. And so I met him, and he informed me I was going to be on a panel with him on Sunday, and I was immediately freaked out because I've never been on a panel before. But anyway, so we visited all throughout the weekend. We had discussions. I mean, on Sunday night, we went out to eat to like a Japanese restaurant. Jeff and Kevin and his wife and Matt Denneman and I. And we had to get in my vehicle and drive across the road because Kevin's wife, her back bothers her a lot, so she couldn't walk like a half a mile. It would be too painful.
Sure.
And we're getting in the vehicle, and I'm just like, please don't wreck this car. I have Kevin J. Anderson in the
Yeah.
I just felt, Anyway, but we had a discussion about Dexter, and he was talking about how that Dexter needed, at the end, he needs to be executed, because
Right.
ultimately and I was like, well, but the writers needed to turn the audience against him, and they hadn't really done that. Like,
Right.
you need to have an example of him going, like, okay, someone was mean to the mailman, so Dexter's going to kill him. You
Right.
need to give us an example of him going way overboard, because I wanted him to have a happy ending.
Right.
Because he was taking out the trash.
And you're not supposed
Yeah.
to, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, that was the appeal of the show. I remember my brother first telling me about it years ago. Had already been on, like, the first season. He was telling me, he's like, there's this serial killer that kills killers. And I was like, okay.
But I also
So
realized
good.
how mind warping this series was. Because you're right, you are rooting for the serial killer. It got so bad that I was almost rooting for him and his sister to get together when that whole storyline started. I'm like, these kids deserve to be happy. Wait a minute, they're brother and sister. What am I talking about?
Yeah, well, I mean, not by blood, but still,
No.
the thought of
Yeah.
it was a little disturbing.
Right.
But that whole storyline, what they did with that was like, what the hell? They have never even hinted at anything like that. Now, all of a sudden, they just dropped this thing. Oh, she's in love with it. What?
Yeah.
Dude.
All of that kind of stuff. If you're gonna do it, you gotta have 2 or 3 seasons to build up to something like that.
Yeah.
And an ending like you were just saying, they needed to have that in mind from the beginning.
They did, and I feel like they just, like, didn't one of the original showrunners or whatever end up leaving, and it feels like maybe that's when it went off the rails.
That could be.
So,
Tale as old as time.
I'd like to say hello to the Clue Channel. And my stalkerazzi, Lady V Elements.
Lady V.
I'm glad to see the Clue channel here, because now we can say we got a clue. Sorry.
we need, like, a sound effect of drums for, like, when it's
But
really bad.
ching, yeah, exactly.
The serial killer kills serial killers, then shouldn't a serial killer kill himself? Technically,
Well,
yeah.
he doesn't just, he kills killers. They
But
don't have
he's
to
a
be
killer
serial
himself,
killers.
and that
He
actually
is a killer himself.
that is another option for the ending of the series, right?
For him to take himself out, but I don't think
Yeah.
Dexter would. I couldn't see him unless there was, like, a situation where he's about to be taken off to jail
Yeah.
or whatever, and he just doesn't want to live behind bars. But I don't know. I heard they're coming
Yeah,
back
but-
with, like, another something or other. Maybe
It
a
is time to
prequel-ish
end it, I
thing.
think.
I just.
yeah.
It's his son that's
Yeah.
supposed to be taking over the business.
I didn't like
Oh,
his
that's-
son.
That's too
No.
I
bad.
didn't like his son. Little shit.
Yeah, but then again, I haven't seen that much of the show, so I
I've
can't
seen
really
enough
judge
to
it.
know I don't like
And
it. Oh, yeah,
another
you mean the
one
whole show. You
I
should.
yeah, I haven't seen that. True Detective is another one I haven't seen, and I started out watching it, and I thought that first episode with McConaughey and Woody Harrelson was probably, if not the best pilot episode of a series I've ever seen, certainly top 3 to 5.
Yeah.
I
Good.
thought it was that good, but I
First
never
season
got
was really
around
good.
to finishing that. And that's what I've heard, is that season 1 is good, and that the rest you can pretty much skip.
I enjoyed season 3. I didn't hate season 2, but I could tell it wasn't as good as. And then I watched season 4, and I enjoyed it, but it was just like it didn't fully settle well with me. And so I was like, what's up with this? Why do I feel this way? Because sometimes you can't quite put your finger on what it is. That you didn't care too much about. So then I was watching some reviews about it, and people were making these excellent points, and so I completely get why Well, it had high critical ratings because it's women and all that. The women leads and there were some things in there that was so it takes place in Alaska. So you have like the indigenous people there, and then of course there's white people that are the assholes and all that. Of course. But then there was just some writing continuity issues with stuff that was going on, and so I see why there were problems, why people had problems with it, reviewers of the show. And then, of course, it turned into this whole thing where one of the actors, the one who played the cop partner of Jodie Foster, she started bashing people who were given negative reviews and, basically insisting that they were misogynist and they just didn't like brown people because they didn't like the show, which was a bunch of bullcrap. So that kind of gives me that like left a bad taste in my mouth for the fourth season.
And another idea, and again, I might be talking out of my ass because I didn't see it, but I kind of get the idea that it wasn't meant to be a True Detective season. Like maybe it was meant to be its own separate thing, but then maybe HBO told her,
I thought
no,
we
wanted it to be True Detective.
That was a thing. I thought I heard someone mention that it was originally supposed to be something else. I might be wrong. I did mention that it would have been better if it hadn't been attached to True Detective. Yeah, I hate that too, Brian. I think it's really low, and they just shouldn't do stuff like that. I'll give you an example of stuff that was some stuff that was wrong with it, like a glaring issue with it. That particular actress, she has piercings in her face, and her nose, maybe, whatever.
Yeah.
That's it. The piercings aren't an issue for me. This was the issue. She's a cop. She was wearing the piercings on duty. You don't do that.
Right.
That's a safety hazard. But they were just like, she just was flouncing around as a cop wearing these piercings, getting in fights, and it's like, how did she not break a tooth when someone punched her in the face with these piercings? Like stupid stuff like that. And it makes you wonder if the actress herself insisted that she be allowed to wear these, because she does wear them.
And I can guarantee you that a cop gets into a fight with a gangbanger, those piercings are getting ripped out.
Oh, yep. Exactly.
Yeah, that's the
exactly.
Idea. Yeah.
Well, that just shows that writers don't know how to write.
Some of them
showrunners don't know how to show run.
Yeah,
like anyone.
Let's see. Clue Channel had a couple of questions here that I want to. Damn, why does this keep jumping on me? Damn it, chat, stay still. Let me see. Okay. This is your stream. Yes. I am the creator of this mess, and
he takes full responsibility.
I do. I got the idea in my head of doing something along the lines of like coast to coast. I mean, obviously, I don't cover the same subjects, but I wanted to do something that was kind of along those lines. And originally, the show was kind of an all-nighter, a little bit more. I don't want to say political leaning, but I wasn't afraid to take it there at first, and then I kind of decided, I don't really want to do that, and I wanted to make it more of a chill stream. So, occasionally we do go into, certain subjects that YouTube probably wouldn't want us to necessarily, but this is mostly just a fun one. And it's not an all-nighter anymore because I don't want to fall asleep in the middle of my own show. So, which I did, and nobody noticed, and my guest just kept talking. It's like a 5-hour episode. You can
Oh wow.
check it out if you dare.
Did you wake up in time to turn it off at least?
Oh yeah, eventually, yeah. But I think
Okay.
I think I was probably out for like the better part of an hour.
Oh, my
Gosh.
goodness.
But the good news was Gary Kissel and Stephen Ransom, and if you get the two of them together, they'll just like go, So it's like,
They just carried it for you.
yeah, they carried it, yeah, and so that's
funny.
how that happened. But yeah, Clue's other question was: Is New Hollywood making films and TV just so they can have an opportunity to call people on nest and foe? Yeah, some. With some
It
of them,
feels
yeah,
that way
is
sometimes.
that is exactly what some are trying to do, and I don't want to like blanket statement say it's everybody in Hollywood, because I know it's not, because I've talked I've kind of communicated back and forth to a couple of people who I know are not down with that, and they've so it's not everybody, but these
Or if they just
I got,
they write crap stuff, and then when
yeah,
people criticize it because it's crap, they hide behind those accusations as some
yeah,
sort of shield to
they
protect their
can't
crap writing.
take the criticism because they've lived these hermetically sealed lives, and they've been spoiled. And this is, when it comes to my generation, this is the one thing my generation did wrong. We spoiled our kids. We spoiled them. You made everything easy for them, and now we're kind of paying for it. You send your kids off to college. First off, you put them in public schools, which they're not even public schools anymore. They're government schools.
I've called them government schools for decades.
Yeah. So we put our kids in these government schools, and then send them off to college, which is, where all the professors are like these 60s radicals who, think Vietnam is still happening. And I don't know, man. It's just, I don't recognize my country anymore. I don't recognize my neighborhood. I don't recognize anything out of Hollywood. It's just like and even if you got to be careful what books you read. You can't go to a bookstore anymore and just pick out something that looks interesting. You gotta kind of read between the lines, and because there's a lot of woke shit in books too these days. There's a reason why I don't read Don Winslow. There's a reason why I don't read Stephen King anymore. Um, I miss just being able to turn on my TV and pick a random show out and enjoy it. Now you got to go back 30, 40 years for decent TV. Because the thing you got to understand about Hollywood was they always had what I refer to as the old school liberalism. It was always there. All the people that got accused of being communists, guess what? They were communists.
Mm-hmm.
They were. Just be honest. They were. But now they're really upfront with it now. And that's the problem, is that in the old days, they had publicists and they had handlers and they had people around them. Hey, you know what? Maybe shut up with the Maoist stuff every once in a while, and just write or just go and act, make a real movie. I heard Oliver Stone's mother told him that one time. Why don't you make a real movie? Good for her,
Yeah, now they got social media and they're directly connecting with fans.
Yeah.
And they just can't shut up sometimes.
And you realize that all of these people that you looked up to and you made kind of the mistake of putting up on a pedestal, you found out, oh, wow, that guy's kind of an asshole, isn't he? And
unfortunately.
yeah. And that's where we are. I mean, they still make good movies, but I've noticed that the ones that are the best are coming from people who are not on social media or just stick to advertising whatever they have come up. Here's a good example. Kyle Edward Ball, the guy who directed Skinamarink, wrote it, directed it, probably catered it, he's pretty cool on social media. He's not on often. I think the last time, and this will interest you, Troy, because I think I sent this to you, was the footage where he got to meet David Lynch for the first time.
Oh, yeah.
And David Lynch telling him how much he loved the movie, which I knew he would when I saw it, because it's something he would have done back in the day. Because my review for Skinamarink was basically if David Lynch made Paranormal Activity. It would be that movie. So there are people out there who, despite whatever their politics might be, who don't talk about anything political.
Yeah.
They just want to talk about the whatever movie they're doing. They don't make a big show out of being gay or anything.
Or their political
they just talk.
feelings or whatever.
Yeah. And then,
But
those are the people I tend to gravitate to.
You also pointed out, that these are Maoists, right? That's what they really are. And that's what, you talk about the universities, the government schools, they're churning out little Maoists. The schools, the public schools have been infiltrated by these people to turn them into, meat grinders putting out Maoist sausages. And they're learning the techniques that were used during the Cultural Revolution. Accuse people of things that everyone will hate them for, that can't be proven or disproven. Whatever the thing is now. Back in the day, it might have been homosexuality or whatever. Nowadays, it's being an istinophobe. Whatever you have to do will discredit them, and you can hide behind that. They've learned their lesson well, apparently.
This is interesting, Sin. Thank you. You'd think that if they were writing a show about cops, they'd at least consult with them about things. I must have missed the first part of that.
That was about True Detective.
Yeah.
Thing with the cop with the piercings all in her face.
And even if that was the case, I mean, I don't know the story behind what you're talking about, but you can absolutely find a way to work. She's working undercover, in the gangs and whatnot.
Yeah, and
or
she
something.
wasn't. It was nothing like that. She's just parading all around town. She never takes them out.
Yeah.
And she's You know, even when she's like doing her regular cop stuff, she's got these. No,
Yeah.
but I don't know. No, just makes me feel like the actress insisted on being allowed to keep them.
Well, and plus, if you're going to call your show True Detective, then maybe you should be a little bit more true
Right.
to what you're trying to tell a story about, right?
Agreed.
I mean, it's the same thing I always say about things like Bram Stoker's Dracula and Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. If you're going to invoke the name of the author, you better be true to the source material. Love never was Dracula, right?
Yeah.
Elizabeth Frankenstein was not brought back to life.
Well, the difference with me is that I actually like Bram Stoker's Dracula quite a bit. It's just,
I do too.
I have
an edited version that takes out all the reincarnation love scenes.
All the
and
love
makes it
stuff
much
that was
better.
not. I've got it too. It's right here on my desk somewhere.
Oh, where'd you
When
get that from,
you,
Sin?
You guys sent it to me.
okay. Well, I'll have to get a look at that too at some point, decide. But as everyone here knows or should know by now, I am Winona Ryder's unrequited love slave.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to.
So I have to get you the edited fan edit that takes all the scenes that were taken out of Sin's version and was re-edited with deleted scenes in it.
Right.
And by that I mean the host of the show, not deleted scenes from the movie.
Right.
I let the chat jump on me here, so I'm kind of
Trying
going
to catch
backwards a bit. Disconnected writers living in Hollywood don't know how the world works. Yeah, Critical
That's
Drinkers
very true.
talked
Oh,
about
so-
that a number of times.
That is very, very true.
Like in The Punisher, where they pulled his piercings out with pliers. Yeah.
That is an interesting connection I never made before, Tim Hayes. And I have Frankenstein Unbound sitting right on the shelf, right next to it, too. It's funny.
Let me get to that.
Oh, yeah, Sashi, absolutely.
Francis Ford Coppola was ripping Corman's Frankenstein Unbound by. Ripping it off.
Yeah. Well, that's fine, but if you're going to call your film Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, the only one you should be ripping off is Mary Shelley. He didn't call it, Corman's Frankenstein.
Yeah, but Coppola didn't do that Frankenstein. That was Branagh, I thought.
No,
wasn't it?
I knew what you meant, Tim.
Okay.
Yeah, Francis
I got
Ford Coppola was Dracula.
But Coppola was Dracula, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Just don't join any political movement these days. They're all corrupted. Yeah,
Yep.
I agreed. Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, whatever the title of that political movement is, it's probably just the opposite. For example, BLM doesn't give a flying fig about black lives.
No.
I'll tell you that.
Or truth either, because
Well, that's
the
true.
two cases that they were founded on, the narrative that they put out there was patently
Absolute
false.
lies, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's entirely dependent on the ignorance of the listener.
Well, yeah,
people-
because they go by what the media tells them,
Yeah.
and the media misrepresents the truth all the time. Which is, and that's exactly what happened in those cases that BLM was founded on.
And of course, that's where we knew what we were walking into with Origin, because the first thing that
Ugh.
movie does is misrepresents the Trayvon Martin shooting.
Blatantly misrepresents that case.
Yeah. And now we're getting a George Floyd movie. How do you think that's going to turn
Of
out?
course. Of course.
Sad.
There's so much wrong with that whole thing.
The guy,
Literally.
My gosh, Clue, you're absolutely right. I mean, I just said the names of these groups mean just the opposite, but it didn't really. I didn't realize how much I meant that until I saw what you just said. You kind of underscored it for me. BLM hates blacks, LGBT hates gays, feminists hate women. Well, but the nice thing is that I do see blacks pushing back against BLM. I see what gays against groomers pushing back against the LGBT thing, you know, and
BLM was started by some white Karens.
Probably.
No, there was an article on it.
Yeah.
It's like all these white Karens were like, "Oh, Black Lives Matter," and all the black people were like, "Shut up."
But it was quickly co-opted by the Marxists.
Those Marxists, yeah.
But the one thing that one of the very few things that I think Origin got right was who brings up Charlottesville in that movie. It's her two rich white friends who bring that up.
Yeah.
You know, Brian Woodbridge makes a great point. Feminists want women to be men, but here's the funny thing: the trans community wants men to be women. So there you go.
The radical trans community almost makes me feel like I should be a feminist.
Yeah.
Because it literally does feel like there is a concerted effort to erase women and femininity and womanhood.
Yep.
And I'm not about like feminism. Even the original feminists had so much wrong. Like they were not these pure little angels that people look. Whatever. But what's happening now? It's like, hey, wait a second. Wait a minute. No, you're not a woman. You can't birth babies. You don't have ovaries. You're not going to have a period ever. I mean, sorry, that's just a bit. I'm sorry.
Yep.
That's fine.
I'm going a little overboard, but I can get a little heated about it because it's really, really, it's actually frustrating to see the very blatant attempt at gaslighting that's going on. You see something right in front of your eyes and you know this guy is not a woman, but you have people telling you that he's a woman. You must refer to him as a woman. He doesn't even come close to passing. You know, a lot of
the ultimate expression of the patriarchy.
it's like what? I just can't. It's really frustrating.
Clue's
And it's
right.
frustrating. It's frustrating for true transgender people, and I say true because a lot of these people that don't even come close to passing, I don't buy for 1 second that they legit have gender dysphoria.
Yep.
Like I don't believe that Dylan Mulvaney has gender dysphoria.
Nope.
Legit trans people, they don't walk around trying to advertise that they're trans. They want to blend.
Yep.
And I have known trans people that I never would have known they were trans if eventually somehow I didn't find out because they were convincing.
Yep.
And they didn't blast it around and tell you. And if they went into the bathroom of the gender they identified as, they weren't trying to mess with anybody. They would go in their stall and take care of their business in private. But then you have this other element, and I think Blair White has called them trans trenders. They're just jumping on this trendy bandwagon.
Yep.
Those are the people I have serious issues with. People like that.
This is why Jordan Peterson, he talked about the natural extension of the whole intersectional thing. He says eventually you start dividing more and more and more and more until you literally just have individuals. That's the problem. And he said, watch for these intersectional groups to start tearing each other apart. And sure enough, you see it happening all the time.
Yeah.
But going back to what you were saying about the history of feminism, I think I saw somebody surmise it very, very well when they started talking about this concept of different waves or stages of feminism. The first wave feminists wanted suffrage. The second wave second wave feminists wanted equal pay for equal work. Third wave feminists wanted revenge, and fourth wave feminists want to be men.
Yeah. Well, first wave feminists, they wanted all of the rights and privileges
Yeah.
without any of the responsibilities.
Yeah. See, and this is so it's going to seem like a tangent, but I'm going somewhere with this. Netter and I, for many years, did Victorian reenacting and more lightly steampunk, cosplay, and really had to study Victorian history to really, get into characters, and come to realize that the whole idea, even before there was talk about women's suffrage, there was talk about universal suffrage. Keep in mind that there was a time when, if you lived in some sort of a democracy where you could vote, you could only vote if you had stake in what you were voting on. Mm-hmm. In other words, if you owned property.
Yes.
And so think about it. I own this house. I'm the head of the house. I get to vote. My wife doesn't, and my kids don't. Now, my kids move out, my sons move out, and they buy property. They can then vote, but until then, they cannot. See, and there's a certain logic to that. You own property, you pay taxes, you are involved in the process. Now, let's be honest. What you just said is absolutely true. The women didn't own property. They didn't work outside the home.
They didn't have to go away to war.
They didn't go to war. Themselves. They didn't pay taxes. But they wanted the right to vote. So I assume that they probably would vote their own mind. But in practice, chances are, given the traditional home, they would vote the way their husband told them to vote. That's kind of unfair, too, because then that landowner is getting 2 votes. Mm-hmm. And then it becomes universal suffrage, and the sons get to vote. And if he's got 4 sons, that's 6 votes that property is getting in the House of Commons. That's... You see where this starts to bring up some issues. Now, I think that problem kind of goes away when you start having taxation being an income tax, so everyone that works gets taxed, and pretty much everyone works, right? The women work, the men work, the kids work. Well, it kind of becomes a wash then. But, whatever.
Yeah. It's a whole thing.
Yes, that was us not getting political, folks.
I know, right? Were we going to talk about movies or something?
I missed
I was about to ask if you had fallen asleep, deleted.
Yes. No. Part of the show is kind of letting y'all speak, so I let you.
That's why he's got guests.
Know where I am about this. Because the thing with me is, I feel that I am politically a man without a country, because
a lot of people do.
Yeah,
I'm definitely
more and more. I think a lot of people feel that way.
I'm definitely not going to vote Democrat ever. I'm sorry, I'm just not. But the Republicans are not much better, man.
Yeah, too many rhinos.
Yeah, entirely too many.
And I've said it before. It's no longer Democrat versus Republican. It's populist versus status, and there just aren't enough populists anymore. Although I've noticed there's a lot of people that I would consider to be populists leaving the Democratic Party. I think the Republican populists are still trying to reform the Republican Party, that whole what do you call it, America First, Freedom Caucus within the Republican Party, but even that's become a bit co-opted. So I don't know. I think that maybe in the next 4 to 8 years we might see something coming out of the status versus populace. In the next 4 to 8 years, we might see something coming of Robert Kennedy's Independent Party. I'd love to see people like Tulsi Gabbard and the people that are leaving the Democratic Party end up over there, and maybe the more populist parts of the GOP start heading over there too. If that happens, not only will we have a third party, that third party would be pretty much unstoppable.
Well, we have a lot of alternative parties, but the Democrats and Republicans both have made it as hard as possible for them to gain any traction. They put all sorts of stumbling blocks in front of them.
Well,
it's really frustrating.
They can't get out of their own way either. Just look at the Libertarian Party and what just happened after they invited Kennedy and Trump to come talk. That was
what happened after. I didn't follow.
It was a whole clusterfuck. Excuse me, sorry. I am trying. I really
are
really
late.
am.
We are late hours or early morning hours.
Yeah,
It's
this
okay.
is post watershed.
Go ahead.
That's right. There was when Trump came up to speak, he was getting booed and whatnot. And
yeah, I heard about that.
the person that was the head of the Libertarian Party is like, look, this is a former president. He's come to talk to you all. Quit being what they accuse us of being. Be open-minded and listen, da-da-da. But then the next day, he was completely anti-Trump, and he said, good, things work out the way they should. And, oh, by the way, our nominee is going to be this gay man. It's like,
oh,
okay, great.
Didn't hear about that.
yeah, let's face it. If you look at the history of the Big L Libertarian Party, they're wackadoos. That party, in quotes, has no leadership. I mean, I guess it's the insane extension of libertarianism. No rules, do whatever you want, and it's just a freaking mess, like herding cats.
Yeah, because so many libertarians have vastly different ideas about what true libertarianism is.
Yeah. Most of them are actually anarchists.
A lot of them are, for sure, yeah.
And that's never going to win any majority in any state, let alone. And see, this is the problem with getting a third party together. You have to win an election to be viable. And so far, we haven't had one that actually can win an election.
Yeah, maybe one of these days we'll do a
right.
Mexico and end up, smashing that.
Yeah.
And having an actual alternative.
I do want to say hello to Dadman Walking, who's just joined us. And hopefully Mrs. Dadman, who's, I'm hoping, listening in. Hello. Tim brings up an interesting point, because I've run into this myself. The third parties just don't work. I registered as independent, but I was told by the county voter register person if I kept doing that, my vote wouldn't count because I was only voting for Republicans. Yeah. That's because a lot of these people turn out to be left.
Yeah, see, here's the other problem, and this has nothing to do with parties or anything. This has to do with really why we're seeing so much election fraud. You only have one side that is volunteering to work at the polls, which, look, if you have nobody watching the hen house, don't be surprised when your hens and eggs disappear. The other side is not sending people to volunteer at the polls, to go door to door and knock and talk to people, and this is how you just give it up to the other side. It's apathy. You want to save democracy? You got to fight apathy. That's what you got to do.
And hello to Joe's Atmosphere. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, a lot of people have the misconception. So when they talk about like voter fraud And you've seen the headlines. Well, there was no widespread voter fraud. There was no overwhelming. It doesn't have to be widespread.
Right.
All it has to be is like in a particular county in a particular state. One of my brothers worked in politics for a bit.
Yep.
And he knows how easy it can be done.
Yep.
And so this is why a lot of people are
It's
very
called the
suspicious.
Chicago model for a reason.
It's not as hard as you may think, and unfortunately, the longer things like that go on unchecked, then the more and more disillusioned voters are going to be.
It
about
also
their
requires
vote.
the average voter to know what ballot harvesting is. Ballot harvesting is exactly how elections are stolen, and I say that in quotes because it's absolutely legal in most states to harvest ballots. But when you understand what ballot harvesting is, you become outraged and go, how could that be legal? So what ballot harvesting is everybody has a right to vote. We have to make sure that nobody's rights are infringed, including the infirm, including the people that need a little bit of help, right? Maybe the elderly that are living in an institution for the aged, or hospice care, or maybe the mentally handicapped that live in a group home. They have a right to vote, don't they? So what we're going to do is we're going to go and help them to vote. We, one party, one representation. Here's how you vote. You check D, check D, check D. Okay, we'll take this and we'll mail it in for you because our state allows mail-in votes. So there is no accountability for who sent that in. It's absolutely legal. This isn't fraud. That's ballot harvesting, people, and one side does it. The other side might want to start doing it. Not because they agree with it, but because once you do, the other side will start saying, hey, maybe we should stop this. And it stops.
Well, Joe's Atmosphere asked, we're up late talking politics? Well,
yes.
Believe it or not, we started out talking about Firefly, and now we're on voters' rights.
Okay, what
You
sort
talked
of
about a show that was about a civil war. How does that not get political?
All right, so let's bring it back because, all right, Sin and I need to conversate here. All right, because we both recently saw a little movie you may or may not have heard of called In a Violent Nature.
Oh, yes.
And it seems we
have
might
a sharp
be,
disagreement.
A sharp disagreement on this one. Yeah.
I haven't edited my review for that. I was editing my review for The Watchers before this show started. So, yeah. So go proceed. Delete it.
Okay. We'll get to The Watchers. But, okay. In a Violent Nature, for those who maybe have not been made aware of it, for those of you who don't see trailers, it's basically Friday the 13th from Jason's point of view.
Yeah.
If you want to narrow it down to one sentence, it's what it is. Look, just give Johnny his fucking locket back and he'll go away. I mean, is this so difficult? Why are you people continuing to make this difficult? Why are you questioning the mission? So anyway, yeah. So you have this. Mass murderer, I guess you could say, who has his reasons. He gets killed. A locket is taken from his grave site. He reanimates, and hilarity ensues. You know.
Hilarity.
And then it turns into a Cormac McCarthy movie in the third act, which I totally dug, you know, but I know is not going to like fly with a lot of people. But all right, well, first things first, the kills are fucking amazing.
Some of them are like, what the hell? But then I started being like, okay, there's no way this person would still be standing if this happened. Why are they still standing there?
So like a
And
real
then there was
slasher
no,
film.
There's no,
Yeah.
and like there's no screaming half the time. Are you kidding me? And the kills were innovative. And so Deleted, I was with this movie for like the first 30 minutes or so ish of the film, but then after a while the things that I felt made it interesting, like just following the killer along, started to drag it down. It was about an hour and a half. I feel like it should have been maybe only an hour. It should have been more like a short.
Oh,
We will eventually,
Hello,
Enigma.
Severus. Yeah.
And then there was a thing that happened at the end, a particular kill that just went on and on and on and on and
Well,
on
here's-
and on and on. It
Here's
was
my
like,
here's my
and
thing
then this
about
person
that.
just standing there like a lump, just standing there, just watching. What? Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
Well, the thing about that is I don't think that it goes on as long as it seems to go on. I think that's in her head.
You think? I don't know.
I think. Yeah.
I don't know.
Because
It was
I mean
like
I
literally beating a dead sack of meat.
yeah.
It was going on forever.
But I mean, I know the sound effect of that goes on for, I agree, too long. That's why I think that's still going on in her head, because she's still hearing that sound because she's so
Well, like as she runs away,
freaked out.
yeah, she's hearing
Yeah.
it as she runs away. But I got the feeling she was really standing there that long. Oh, and then like one of the kills, this chick stops at the edge of like a hill. It's not a cliff. She could have run down the hill. She just stops and then turns around and just waits to be killed. Like what? This is stupid. Now that kill was really gnarly. What he did with
Yeah.
her. Holy cow. The effects were
The-
great.
The yoga kill, as it's called.
Oh,
Yeah.
is that what it's
Oh
called?
boy.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was something else. If this is not for the faint of heart, I have seen
No.
a lot of I've seen a lot of slasher movies. So it didn't necessarily bother me, but that particular kill was really good. Oh, the other kill with the log splitter.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one where I was going. I
It was
understand.
like, okay, you're just doing this now just for the grossness factor. I was getting a little agitated by that.
That
point.
was the one that I think went on too long.
Yeah.
Because that was. Now I understand specifically why the killer wants to take out that particular person. I get it. It's just that okay,
The
why
history.
are you? There's history there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Quite a bit of history. Interesting lore. Interesting backstory. I dug that. You know.
But the lead up to, so there was like so many things that went wrong in that scene.
Yeah.
Before it's like, shut up and just burn him. Just burn him. Or like, oh no, we can't do this because he'll like we can't. What was it? Let's just give him the locket back or something. And he's like, no, we can't do that because it doesn't work. Whatever. I can't remember. And I was like, don't you have like gasoline around? Can't you just? Why do you even need to just burn him? Just burn him up. No, they didn't even do that. So like there were all these logical issues that I was getting frustrated with. It's called In a Violent Nature.
Yes.
And I will give it points for its uniqueness. I was really with this movie, especially the first 30 minutes. I was really pulled in, and then after a while I started to get agitated. And by the time the movie was done, I was just annoyed and wished it had been about 30 plus minutes shorter. I think it would have been much more effective. That's just me though.
And hello,
Not
Manuel.
coffee, lemon water.
Lemon water.
Sorry, I'm addressing a question.
No, that's fine. But now I grant it's not a movie for everybody. Everybody is not going to go for it. So you know that's why I'm not trying to The people who don't like it, I'm not trying to talk them out of it. I get it. It's not going to be for everybody. But when I was watching it, I was like, okay, it's a decent slasher. We're seeing some kills we've never seen before. Definitely.
For sure.
And then they got to the end. And I thought, because I'm looking at, okay, because there's a point where the movie could realistically end.
Okay.
And I look at my phone and I realize, wait a minute, there's still like 20 minutes left in this movie.
The perspective shift.
Yes.
And then the scene in the truck. That went on a bit too long too, and I was like, oh, they're leading us up to expect this typical thing that happens at the end a lot of times in horror movies, and it just felt like it kind of petered out. I was just,
But
let's get on with it. Let's get on with it. What's the
thing-
point?
The thing for me was, it was the ending that made the movie for me.
Okay, like the final shot.
Because, well, the final shot's really cool, but that whole scene in the truck, number one, the fact that they got the actress they got, which I don't want to give away.
I knew who it was before I watched it, and I felt like, okay, they're dragging this scene on just because of who this is. That's what it felt like.
And because I want to say what I want to say, but I don't, because I'm worried it might give away.
Yeah.
The ending is very reminiscent of another movie.
Okay.
And
sure what movie that
you
is.
have, okay, I'll put it this way, and you movie fans out there can probably figure it out from there. There's a Cousin Ellis character.
Can you put in the private chat, because I don't know, maybe I've not seen this movie you're referring to, or I'm just completely blanking out on who you're talking about.
There is another movie
Okay.
where the movie could logically end, but there's another scene.
Okay.
And in that scene is a character named Cousin Ellis. And that scene explains the entire film. And you realize that that movie was not what you thought it was about. And I'm going to put it in the private chat.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out
But
who. what
that
the heck you're
was. That's what the final scene in A Violent Nature reminded me of this movie. And then the guy, oh, now I get what they're trying to say. This is a slasher movie that actually has something to say about nature and violence in our animal side and kind of guarding your own territory and whatnot. And
I probably appreciate your commentary more than I did the last 45 minutes of the movie.
oh,
You just summed up why we watch the YouTubers we watch.
Well, I was having a discussion on Sound Booth Theater, and we were talking about the movie Zardoz, because that was one of the movies, the Sean Connery movie with the god-awful wardrobe. I hated that movie, and one of my coworkers at Sound Booth, he loved it, and he had this excellent rundown and explanation for what it stood for, the symbolism and all this, and I appreciated that so much. Just like, I wish I could have watched and listened to that instead of that stupid movie. So I kind of feel the same way after this discussion. Okay. All right. When I looked up that name, that you were talking about, it brought this up, and I guess I'm not making the connection. No, absolutely not, Enigma. Maybe we can. Maybe we can. Oh, I hated that movie so much. Even though I got what it was standing for. Maybe we can talk about it at some point. You can explore, or if you do a review. Well, I don't know if you want to do like a spoiler review or something and go into detail. Because I'm curious at these connections you're making.
Yeah, I'd kind of like to.
Okay.
Because to me that ending scene in the truck makes the film. That's the point.
That wasn't the final shot, though.
No.
Like I guess I got the messaging of that whole discussion in the truck.
Yeah.
But then of course there's the final shot. That's what I thought you were talking about. So I was trying to figure out how this particular item in the final shot connects with a Cousin Ellis.
No. I
mean, it is almost 1:30 in the morning.
The final shot.
Working.
The final shot.
That discussion.
What I was talking about was the discussion before.
Yeah.
The final shot. And it reminded me of this specific scene in another movie. And I'm like,
yeah, at the end of that.
got what you're going for. That's what you're going for.
Well,
okay.
I mean, I got the point. It just, to me, it didn't help the movie for me. It didn't.
No.
Unfortunately, I really wanted to like this movie more than I did.
Okay.
So, Sin, based on what Enigma is saying, if I do a Zardoz rewatch on a Monday night at the movies, will you join me?
Nope. I hate that movie so much. I hate that movie.
Do you know I haven't actually seen it?
Oh.
I've heard so many people ripping on it, and I've seen some stills from it that make me go, WTF?
It's so, like, there's a message to it, there's a point to it, and I got it, but the delivery was so bad to me. I told Jeff, I think that was it. I don't remember if that was the discussion where I mentioned to Jeff I needed to start billing him for these movies I was watching.
Yeah.
Especially like the terrible ones.
Yeah, Zardoz is not my movie.
Oh my gosh.
No.
Oh Lord.
I seen it a few years ago, and I was ripping on it so badly.
It does have an important message, and I agree with this message, but
True.
Ugh.
I want Zardoz versus Borat. That is not an image you wanted, is it?
No. I haven't watched not one of the Borat movies.
Well, the only thing you need to
I
know
have
about
zero
Borat
desire.
is that Sacha Baron Cohen gets into one of those weird bikinis, kind of like what's his name wears.
Yeah, Sean Connery.
Sean Connery,
That's
little banana
some
sling
of the worst
thing.
wardrobing, I swear. Right? I don't blame you, Sashi. I never wanted to watch it, and for whatever weird reason, it was decided during one of our live streams that the next one we were going to cover Zardoz. Oh, Lord.
Only seen Zardoz once many years ago. Can't really remember it. Yeah, same. I've
The
kind
same-
of
You
blocked it out.
probably blocked it out of your mind.
The same director who did that made Excalibur, which we
Yeah.
also watched later, and I hated Excalibur as well.
Really? You
Oh,
hated
really?
Excalibur?
Oh.
Did not like that movie at all. Oh my! That was
Man,
the
I
one.
love
I
that
think that was the one where I said, I know a lot of people do, but it was so cringe and it was so terrible to me, and I just decided this director is not for me. And I think Excalibur might have been the one where I told Jeff I needed to start billing him for these movies that I watch.
Thing
Oh
is,
my
I remember
gosh.
seeing Excalibur in the theaters.
I remember when there were. I remember seeing, like, when I would be around a TV, like maybe at a family's house or at a hotel or what, a family member's house or hotel. I remember seeing images of it and it looked interesting, but I just never watched it. And once I found out it was the same director, I went into it a bit leery. The narrative was a little bit better, but I just couldn't. It just the
True.
storyline wasn't constructed. It did have better costumes. That's true.
I saw an
And-
edited version of Excalibur in school.
An edited version, okay.
Yep. Well, obviously. I mean,
Yeah.
some of that movie you can't really show in school.
Well, I mean, this we were going over the impossibilities of certain acts being able to happen when someone is in full armor.
Good point. Good point.
It's like, what? I don't know. There was just so
Well,
much
maybe
with that.
maybe there's a little hatch there or something.
Well, you can take off the armor, you know.
Oh no, the armor was on.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
armor was on.
The armor
Okay.
was on. He didn't.
Okay. I'm forgetting something then, obviously.
Oh my
All right,
gosh.
but
I
yeah,
always assumed there was some sort of a potty hatch.
it's like a flap. Right.
Yeah.
But the thing with me with Excalibur, other than the fact that it always seemed to be on cable every time I turned
That's
TV
true.
on when I was a kid.
That is
Yeah.
true.
It is the movie that I base all other King Arthur movies on.
Oh.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
how does it compare to Excalibur? Because that was
Oh.
my first.
Okay.
That was my gateway into the King Arthur myth or legend
Yeah.
or whatever you want to call it. So really, for a long time, all I really had was Excalibur to go off of. To me, okay, that was the story. That was how it happened. Give
I-
or take a lie or two, you know.
Well, yeah, exactly. I had the same I had a similar conversation with Aged Boomer because the Arthur myths and the stories of Robin Hood both are based on so much lore that to try and distill them down, especially to distill them down into like 1-2 hour feature film, or a series or whatever, is very, very difficult. It's like so many of the Greek myths. There's one version that says this, and there's another version that says this. And in this version, so-and-so is married to so-and-so. And in this one, this was a composite character, and so on and so forth. But I felt like, of all the versions that I've seen throughout the years, Excalibur came the close to trying to do right by the Arthurian legends. Believe it or not, another one that really does is what was that Disney film?
Sword in the Stone.
Sword in the
Someone
Stone.
mentioned that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sword in the Stone. Very much the once and future king, if you've ever read the Morte d'Arthur, you go, okay, I get what these things are going for. So to think of Sword in the Stone as being a somewhat prequel or sidequel to Excalibur is weird, but not entirely inaccurate when you look at the actual legends.
I would rather have watched that one. It was like they took all the Arthurian legends and storylines and they just smushed them all together.
They kind of did, yeah.
And it like all of a sudden we're here and there was no good transition between them.
Yeah.
And the acting was so melodramatic and ridiculous. The very start of it where the guy, he just had to have the woman. He sees, oh, I just must have her. They were like,
Well, yeah,
I didn't vote for him.
you sons of a silly person. I fought in your general election. Your mother was a hamster and your father smelled of elderberries. Now go
Oh.
on before I taunt you a second time.
oh my goodness.
If you just focus on the British French aspect, yes, Monty Python had that on straight. They got that part right. Yes. Arthur's Legend.
We already have one, you see. What? I told them we already have one.
I'll tell you what, Enigma, if you've read Once and Future King, it's not that far off. Kind of wonder if maybe Maybe Merlin was giving Arthur some of those mushrooms or something like that.
Unless he turns into a llama, I'm out. Okay.
Oh gosh. See, and there, and this is something that something else that Boomer and I were talking about. Some of these stories, these epic legends, don't work well as movies. They work much better as series, either a series of movies or a TV series. You know, he really loves what is that? Robin of Sherwood or whatever, the British series.
Yeah, the one with
Oh,
Sean
from the
Connery's
80s?
son.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've
I know what you're talking about.
I've never seen it myself, but I'm like, that's the kind of thing you need for Arthur too. You know, is to cover the span of it. And the BBC used to be really good at doing series like that. The Jeremy, actually now I don't know if this was BBC or ITV that did the Jeremy Brett Sherlock Holmes.
Mm-hmm.
That is the quintessential
Well, yeah.
Conan Doyle's collection
he's the
in live
closest.
action form. Yes, absolutely. But yeah, you don't see anything like that. The Tripods was another great one. That took a book series and didn't extrapolate on it or do anything beyond it, just told the story and was done with it. And I'd love to see someone do that with Arthur. I don't want to reimagining. I don't want to know, well, if Arthur was real, this is how it would have been. What if Arthur was a woman? None of that stuff. I just want the actual Arthurian legends. Please, someone in the entertainment industry.
Well, I liked the King Arthur film with Clive Owen,
I did too. I like that one a lot.
where he's which is the Roman centurion theory.
And Guinevere was a woad,
Yeah,
and Merlin was
Good
as
cast.
well.
good movie.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that.
Um,
I love the soundtrack to that as well.
Oh, I love the soundtrack.
So good.
But stay away from the PG-13 version because it cuts the guts out of it. See the uncut version.
oh, I don't.
It
know if I've
is
seen
The
the
PG-13 cuts the guts out of it? You'd think that would be the R version.
yeah.
I don't know if I've seen that one.
But,
Yeah,
Oh,
you're
yeah,
probably right,
it's-
Clue.
it's-
You're absolutely right.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
eventually
please-
we'll do
please
something
don't.
like that.
let's see.
But they
yeah,
wouldn't
that-
change Guinevere, right?
They'd probably make her gay.
Exactly.
Well,
exactly right.
But she definitely was not gay in the Clive Owen version. No,
No, she wasn't.
she actively pursues him. When it
Funny
gets to
thing
the point-
is,
in fact, when you see the uncut version, there's a little bit more with them. Yeah, that gets cut complete because in the PG-13 version they don't. But in the uncut version they do.
So the one I saw, things are starting, but then there's an interruption because a battle is getting ready to happen. That's what I saw.
Yeah, that's probably the PG-13.
Okay, all right.
Sashi says Arthur as a woman was done in the Japanese series Fate. In DC Comics, Camelot 3000, all of the Arthurian characters are reincarnated, and Lancelot is reincarnated as a woman.
Oh.
Yeah.
It actually was a pretty good series. I think, was it Sir Gawain? Comes back as like an alien.
Oh, jeez.
Okay. But
Excalibur, the lake that Excalibur in is now a toxic waste dump. Anyway.
Well, in the Clive Owen film, he already has Excalibur from the beginning. There's no Lady of the Lake or anything like that. It's more grounded.
Do they even directly mention Excalibur? I don't even remember. He doesn't pull any, sword out of the stone or anything like that.
No. It was. I don't remember if he pulls it out of a stone or not. Because there is that whole opening sequence with him as a child.
Oh, okay. It's been a few years since I've seen it, so I
Yeah.
feel like I need to
So
watch it again.
I need to sit down and watch it again too, because like I said, I have what I refer to as the uncut version, but that was
Okay.
only ever on home video. So the version I'm talking about was never in theaters.
I never saw it on the big screen either. I saw it afterwards.
No,
So
I only ever saw it on video.
I would have loved to have seen it on the big screen though.
Oh, so would I. Mads Mikkelsen
Right?
steals that movie. And he barely says a word.
He's not in there. Yeah, he's not even in there very much. He's very
No.
silent.
He's
Yeah.
he's just a hardcore badass to that whole thing. Ray
Yeah.
Winston being
Yeah.
Ray Winston is only he
Mhm.
can and better than they usually let him do.
Reed Richards.
I
was
can't
in
let you
there,
go
wasn't
out
he?
there. You'll get killed.
Wasn't-
Ray Stevenson.
Wasn't Reed Richards the dude who played Reed Richards in the earlier Fantastic Four movies? Wasn't he Lancelot?
Lancelot, yeah.
Yeah. And then the dude who played in I don't remember the character he played in, but there was a guy who played in Arthur that I thought also played in the Hannibal show with Matt
Yes.
Nicholson. Yeah, okay.
Yes.
All
Yeah,
right.
same guy.
I
Hugh
don't know his
Dancy.
name.
Yeah.
Yeah, that guy.
And Joel Edgerton is the other one.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
yeah.
Forgot Joel was in there. Good movie.
But yeah, so they had to get. It's basically, in a way, kind of a Seven Samurai story, too. Because you think about there are 7 of them. Once you bring Guinevere into it, there are 7 of them. They are protecting the village, quote unquote. And then, of course, you have this. And then, of course, you have Stellan Skarsgård. You throw him in there as the villain, and
he was the
you
Saxon.
You got a weekend, yeah. Till Schweiger and
Forgot who played his son.
Till Schweiger,
Yeah, but what have I seen him in? Because I'm
Inglorious
blanking.
Bastards,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
and he's in the Guy Ritchie one that's out now.
Which Guy Ritchie one?
The
Oh, that's
I-
him. The
I
bad
call
guy,
it the-
the Nazi guy.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
I call it the League of Extraordinary Bastards, Inglorious Bastards, because that's really what it is. It's Inglorious Bastards light.
Yeah,
The
or
Ministry
except-
of Ungentlemanly Warfare.
It was based on a true story.
Yeah.
Unlike Inglorious Bastards. That's a fun movie. I rewatched it with Arturo a while back, and it was it was enjoyable. It's not his best, but it was adequate. And also rewatched Abigail with him around this around the same time, and I'm going to go see Bad Boys again with him on Tuesday.
Yeah. I saw part 3 last night for the first time.
I love part 3. That's my favorite Bad Boys.
Yeah, I liked it.
It had this perfect mixture. So it's been years since I've seen 1 and 2.
Mhm.
I had that live stream discussion with Polly on Friday. It was a lot of fun, and a lot of people, most people like the first one the best, but that's not my favorite. That's probably my 3rd favorite. Least favorite is the second one, but Bad Boys 3. That story that felt like it had the perfect balance of humor and seriousness, Bad Boys 4 it's a bit too goofy in some parts. I mean, still a fun film. I really enjoyed it, but some of the stuff is a bit too goofy and silly. And the second movie just way over the top and ridiculous to me. First movie
Yeah.
might be one of the more serious ones, but like I said, it has been quite a bit since I've seen it. But yeah,
And
third
hello to
movie's
Gary Ambrosia.
really fun.
Hey, Gary.
So yeah, I mean they still make good movies, folks.
It happens.
I'm doing a show in a couple of weeks. That is my best of 2024 so far. And
Okay.
I've had
Like
people
midway through the year.
I did it last year, and I've had people backstage. You found 10 good movies, and I'm like, yeah, actually, I did. You know, and you might be surprised by a couple of the ones that are in the top 10, but or how high some other movies might be. I know the movie that's currently my number one is not one I was expecting to be number one at this point in the year, but yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm curious to see what that list is.
Oh yeah. And,
Yep.
and I'll be surprised if it changes between now and the end of the year. I'm having more trouble figuring out what I'm going to put in my 10 worst than I am in my 10 best, because there's so
Really?
many worst or mid
Oh.
movies this year.
You could always add some
Yeah.
honorable mentions.
Yeah, I'm probably going to have to.
Oh yeah, that's a good movie, Enigma.
Which
That's
one?
Tom Hardy.
Um,
The Drop.
mhm.
That was a good film.
I haven't seen it, but I'm aware of it.
I think it's based on a book or short story or something.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's right. It was.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, there's good stuff out there. It's just, for me, it's mostly been independent films that got recommended to me, by other people. I mean, our pal Big Al Presents has pointed me in the direction of some good movies. I know I never would have watched Monster Mash if he hadn't brought that movie
Oh
out.
yeah, I've got that
And
on my to watch list.
I had so much fun with that movie.
Okay.
And just,
I need to check that out.
Michael Madsen as Dr. Frankenstein.
Yeah.
Because fucking why not? Because I'm
I also
yeah,
want to check out that other one that
I'm
you
Dr.
mentioned.
Victor Frankenstein. Yeah, I've got you prisoner. Your father's gonna come by and try to rescue you, which is what I want because it's part of my plan. Where the fuck am I right now? Oh, right. Right, Frankenstein, right. You sure I'm not Mr. Blonde? Where's Quentin? Here. No? I'm being paid for this, right? Okay. It's in my contract. How many days do I have to work on this one? 3.
We stopped filming a week ago.
Oh, shit. Okay. So you're telling me I can go now?
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for inviting me along. I'm going to do an entire show as Madsen as Dr.
as
Frankenstein. I can't help it. It's just like, why? But when you see the movie, you're like, well, they couldn't find Eric Roberts, I guess. I don't know. But it's a fun movie. it's basically Taken with Dracula in it. You know?
I can't wait to watch this. I'm gonna
It's fun as hell.
I'm gonna check it out. Fun like the
Oh.
Monster Squad. That was a fun movie.
Yeah.
I
It's
really
the
like the
Monster
Monster
Squad, only the Monster Squad is actually monsters.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm now I'm kind of wondering if you guys have seen Renfield.
I have seen Renfield.
I need to see it.
Yeah, saw it.
What'd you think, Sin?
I enjoyed it. It was Nicolas Cage really hamming it up, having an absolute blast in the role.
Yep. I really kind of liked the film. I really did.
Yeah, it was fun.
In spite of being such a Universal Monsters purist, I loved it for what it was. It was that typical Nicolas Cage where you throughout the movie it's like, I'm not sure if this is meant to be serious or a comedy, if I like it or hate it, and just decided I enjoyed it, so I'm going to call it a win.
Hammed it up so much. Like that scene where what was the guy? Renfield.
Right.
Renfield is talking to him and trying to like explain why things didn't go the way they were supposed to. And the way Nicolas Cage was just like looking at him, and he's like parts of his face were falling off.
Yeah.
His skin, and he's just like, like
Yeah, exactly.
that was so funny.
I probably for about the past 15, almost 20 years, I've started to look at vampire stories through the lens of the lore from Vampire the Masquerade, the role-playing game.
Oh, okay.
And finding it's probably a great way to look at and I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of modern vampire writers do that. There's a good reason to do that, and I could totally see this idea of Renfield as as the games call him, a Renfield, somebody who is a thrall to a vampire kept alive, like an addict, with powers because of the vampire and whatnot. I thought it was a great idea that there's nothing like that based in the lore from Stoker or from the Universal Monsters, but the best part of the movie to me was the throwback scenes to the original Bela Lugosi Dracula, with the actors, kind of put in place of the original actors, a la, like a Forrest Gump sort of editing. I thought it was kind of brilliant.
Oh, Enigma. Sorry, I was gonna ask you. I was gonna ask you what was this thriller type vampire movie, and
Twilight.
Oh my God!
Oh, geez, don't remind us of Twilight.
We tried to watch that. Netter tried to read the books. She's got like the.
No, I read the books.
All of them?
What? All of them. Yeah.
Oh gosh,
I
I couldn't
latest.
make it past the first one.
And,
Same here.
well, I
Ugh.
wanted to see if anyone ever killed her off.
You know that's not gonna happen.
But then I
Right.
watched the first film, and I'm like, okay, that didn't happen till the third book. What the heck is that? That never happened. What is all this? Yeah, it was horrible.
I saw part of that first. No, I think I saw the whole first movie with her, and I was like, this is just terrible. And then
was.
someone online did a video about, I guess it's one of the later films where she has a baby, like a daughter,
Yeah.
and it's like, oh, I saw the scenes. It's like friggin' nightmare fuel. I'm like, oh, I missed out. This really does turn into a horror show, doesn't it?
Yeah,
I think I
because
missed the point, though.
The vampire babies apparently age very rapidly, and they imprint on other people, and the person she imprinted on is like a 30-year-old guy who's got to wait till she grows
God,
up.
that's
so they can actually be a couple.
Oh no.
It's like vampire. Listen to me. Twilight is one of the a really good example of So you know
Fan fiction.
you know that expression, can't judge a book by its cover.
Yeah.
I definitely judged Twilight by its cover because I thought it was going to be awesome because the cover was cool.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
my brother
that's-
and I both were listening to it at the same time,
Uh-huh.
and we would have discussions about it. And I kept thinking it was going to get better, and then we got to the point, you know, we're talking to each other, and we're like, now, did we understand this scene? Was it like when sunlight hits him, he glitters or he sparkles?
Oh yeah, they're sparkly vampires.
Yeah.
I know,
Those
but
Susie
at the time
Sparkles.
we're like, is this real? And so then when the movie came out, I was thinking, well, the movie's got to be better than the book, and it totally wasn't.
Yeah.
And I decided I was not going to read the books anymore. Maybe I would continue to watch the movie. So I started watching the second movie, and it took me months to finish because I could only handle about 5-10 minutes most at a time watching it because it was just so cringe. I got so sick of Kristen Stewart and her fluttering her eyelashes all the time and these
You mean her
stupid-
complete lack of emotion?
her
Thank
I
you.
just she
Right.
was
Stammering.
so
To act.
Yeah.
and the dialogue was so cringe with Robert Pattinson. It was like, oh my gosh. So I didn't.
If there was anything
Finish.
that scrambled my noodle over it, it was finding out the connection between Twilight and 50 Shades of Grey. I was like,
What was the
Yeah.
connection?
apparently,
connection?
is it 50 Shades of Grey is literally fan fiction of Twilight.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, that's right. I did hear it was fan fiction. I just
It
forgot
would have made
was
more
connected
sense
with
the other way
Twilight.
around, I think. But either way is just, oh my god, what?
No. Yeah.
Yeah.
At least
But
I'm not.
But neither one is good. It's like both writers were these teenage girls that never should have gotten published.
And they made bank. Like huge.
I know. Because there's a lot of wine moms out there that think that's all the height of romance.
Well, there's a lot of people that have a really low bar
Yes.
for what they consider good writing and
Yes.
good storytelling. Oh, I love Underworld. And
Yeah,
Dracula
Underworld's good.
Untold, I feel like I need to rewatch that.
Yeah.
Okay. Let
Never saw
me
it.
let me speak to Dracula Untold. Boomer and I have talked about this a number of times, and we both agree. We both wanted to love that movie.
Oh, and you didn't?
And we're extremely disappointed. I went opening night to see it in the theater. And I was like, this is not at all what I was hoping it would be. Come to find out when the DVD came out, and of course I bought the DVD because I'm a completist, and watched all the deleted scenes, not you deleted scenes, the deleted scenes on the disc, realized that it was meant to have been a better film. There was a whole storyline with Baba Yaga that was cut out of it. All kinds of backstory about the original vampire and so forth that never made it into the movie. And then they shoehorned in that whole last part that was meant to be their setup for their big, dark universe thing. They basically marveled it. And I'm like, well, that's where they went wrong. So yeah, it's not a bad movie, but it hurts my heart because of how good it could have been and really should have been.
Yeah, missed opportunity then. That's
Yeah.
unfortunate.
It's worth a rewatch if you didn't like it before, keeping in mind that there's a lot of story missing, and then just ignore that whole tacked on modern day part of it.
This is true.
Expectations can really kill the
expectations,
love. I had no expectations, so I could take it or leave it. I like Luke Evans. Yeah, he's
Luke Evans was well cast. He
Yeah.
played the part perfectly. I've created a group on MeWe called Fixing the Universal Dark Universe, where we talk about some ideas of what they really could have and should have done with their new dark universe or whatever. And I said, they could very well have done a great job if they had started out with, if not, well, what they really should have done is they should have started by canonizing the Brandon Fraser's Mummy, and just said this is where the story
It's
starts.
the start of it.
You know,
Yeah.
and then led into something like Dracula Untold. And after you've done that, you're going to need to do a remake of the original Bela Lugosi Dracula with whoever was acting. In this case, it would have been Luke Evans or whatever. Because you need to maintain that IP, right? The Dracula is public domain, so Universal has to, re-solidify what elements of their Dracula are theirs. And then kind of continue from there, and not make the mistakes that Marvel did. Do the things that Marvel did well. Standalone movies that have little threads that tie to other movies. Not movies where the plot is secondary to setting up all the other movies.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Agreed. Hey,
And
Struggles.
hey, we have some royalties. Struggle Reviews is here. Hello.
How you doing, girl? Been a
Howdy,
bit.
howdy.
Are you looking forward to Nosferatu?
Oh, yeah. I know I am.
Is that
I
the
am
one with who's in that? gotta
Willem
look it up.
Dafoe.
Mm-hmm.
See, that
Willem Dafoe's
that
in it,
scrambles my
yeah.
noodle too, because
Because
didn't
he's yes, he did.
yeah.
But he's playing Van Helsing. this
Oh,
time.
Maronna me. Okay, that's kind of awesome. That's kind of
That's
awesome.
what I think I heard, because I was confused. I thought this was connected with that other one, and it's apparently not.
No.
Gotcha.
So, yeah.
And hello to my partner in crime, Jed Abiel. All right. But yeah, and then there's your connection, because you have Nosferatu, Willem Dafoe playing Van Helsing, which I'm finding out about right now. Cool. Okay. Of course, Shadow of the Vampire.
Fact check me on that. Definitely fact check me. But
Where he
when I found out about that is when I was like, oh, okay, this must not be connected at all.
See, hearing that makes me think of Annette O'Toole having been Lana Lang in Superman 3, and then getting the role of Martha Kent in Smallville.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Which I thought was brilliant. If I was Clark, I'd end up having an Oedipus complex.
But yeah, so Nosferatu to Shadow of the Vampire, where he's playing Max Schreck, the conceit of the film being that Shrek actually is a vampire. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, that movie being produced by Nicolas Cage. So
I didn't know that. That actually makes a lot of sense.
That's funny.
So there you go.
That's funny.
You had to destroy my photographer? Oh, why not the script girl? The script girl. I'll eat her later. Yeah. Okay. Moving on. Silver says, I'll be honest, they have plenty of energy in my daily life. Defoe puts his entire self into everything he does. Such great
That
actor.
is true.
Yeah.
That is true. I mean, I kind of make fun of method actors, but you can't fault their results.
Yeah. I've always liked him.
Well, when he dies, Willem Dafoe is going to be one of those actors where you find out he was in 300 movies or something like that.
Yeah.
He's been in
He's
so
just
many things.
So many.
Yeah. He's one of those actors that's been in so many movies, you go, I forgot he was in such and such.
Yeah.
I forgot he was in Boondock Saints.
Yeah.
Really?
See? You did too.
Okay.
He was also in Odd Thomas. So if you like Willem, you should check out Odd Thomas.
I didn't see that one.
You need to.
I love that movie.
Yeah.
It was, to me, it was such a a solid adaptation of the book.
Yep, that's what
Yeah.
Netter said too.
Oh,
She
so
loved-
good.
She loved Odd Thomas.
Yeah, I read all the books.
All of them. Yeah.
I haven't read all of them. I've maybe listened to like 3, maybe. I don't think any of them have been
sorry,
as
go
good as
ahead.
the first. No, sorry, I'm done. Go ahead.
He's supposed to be in Beetlejuice that's coming up.
Yeah.
Willem?
Yeah.
Okay. I haven't watched any of the trailers.
Yeah.
I'm
well,
not
he-
crazy
Yeah.
about Beetlejuice, but I'm gonna rewatch the first one in preparation for it.
Missed opportunity if he doesn't play a dead guy.
He is. He plays a guy. He was like an action star or something in his actual life, but he dies on the set.
Oh,
Interesting.
So he's basically like a cop on the other side. So he's kind of after Beetlejuice, I guess. So we'll see. And hello to Real Wade Nation Gaming Clips. Is Shadow the Vampire the one that was the fictional making of Nosferatu? Yes. R.I.P.D. and Beetlejuice. Well, hopefully it will be better because everybody I knew who's seen R.I.P.D. said that movie was awful. So
yeah, that's what I
Yeah.
heard, and it looked like it would have been pretty good, but
Could have done better.
oh, okay.
most definitely looking forward to Nosferatu. I feel like the foes of Van Helsing will be Anthony Hopkins, Bram Stoker over the top. Maybe.
Yes, I
Let's
think he
see.
will. I think he's going to bring an edge of craziness to it, which is why I'm really looking forward to it.
Yep.
Yeah, that was one of the ones in my most anticipated for this year. Also, The Watchers was in one
So-
of my most anticipated lists.
The Watchers. Okay, what were your thoughts?
It was an interesting premise, and this is also very similar to In a Violent Nature. Except I probably dislike The Watchers a little bit more. It got started off pretty decently, but then there was all this stupid stuff that was happening with the characters, and the writing just kind of tanked. It was like she didn't know how to carry it to a really solid completion, and it was disappointing. This is her first movie. So I don't know. I'm hoping to get my review for that up sometime early part of this week.
What if Defoe is Dracula in Renfield?
He would be a good Dracula.
Yeah, it would not be. Yeah, I would not be opposed to that.
No, but we got Cage, and I still need to see Renfield. And the one that I'm looking forward to now is Longlegs.
What's your speculation on the mystery movie?
The Bike Riders.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. You said. I keep
Yeah.
hoping it will be Longlegs. When
So
is that
yeah,
coming
me
out?
too. July 12th, I believe.
Oh, so it's a bit away.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the Bike Riders is the next big movie this next big movie after the Mystery Night. So that's why I'm thinking it's going to be that one. The Watcher, the one where Jennifer Coolidge is a real estate agent. No.
This one's called The Watchers. Yes,
Yeah.
Carl, they already remade it. It was supposed to come to the big screen, and then I heard it's not. It's coming to streaming.
Yeah. It's going to be...
and I thought this year. It was supposed to come out like 2 years ago.
Mhm.
That one's
It's,
been on my list as well.
HBO Max is gonna
Okay.
get
Do
that
we know
one.
a release date yet at all?
I know it's supposed to be this year.
Yeah, that was the last I heard.
But
But we heard it
yeah,
was coming out last year, and then the year before that too. So
I'm
it's not. I
hearing
don't think it will
some
be that Enigma.
not so good things about it. So I don't know if
Yeah,
I'm in a hurry to see it.
I want to
wasn't in a
watch
hurry to
it.
see it before, to be honest. But
I was definitely interested because Salem's Lot is my favorite Stephen King book.
uh,
So I don't know. We'll see.
but I'm hearing some things about what they do at the ending, and I'm like,
Oh,
what? You
no.
know, I'm like,
No.
no,
Okay, don't
Oh,
tell me
no.
anything.
I'm not. I won't. But it's one of those things. Well, wow, that would be cool. What is it doing in Salem's Lot? Is the
Okay.
thing. I'll just put it that way. Oh, okay. What if the mystery movie is Inside Out 2?
It won't be that.
No, because it's too big a movie. Because when the Mystery Nights got started, it was all Apple TV and Amazon films.
Okay.
And then they kind of went away. They kind of went away from that. From like about Champions on, they dropped the whole Amazon Apple thing, because the first one I went to was Spirited,
Okay.
and Spirited was an Apple TV movie.
I didn't see Champion. The first one I went to was Ruby Gilman.
Yeah.
And then I went to almost all of them every time since then, except for like when I was out of town or whatever. I missed some that I would have liked to have seen. But I remember I saw Talk to Me. That was one of the mystery movies. Was that like an Amazon movie? Or had they'd done away with that formula by then?
Yeah, it wound up on Amazon when it went to streaming, but it was not per se, and it wasn't made by Amazon, to my knowledge.
Okay.
So for the mystery moviegoers, would you guys like to give a story to when your heart sank for the movie that was revealed and killed your joy? When it turned out to be Origin, that was I knew I was not going to be in for a fun ride on that one.
Yeah, I that's the one I really wished I could have just left.
Yeah. If it wasn't for the fact that we were reviewing it, I would have walked out.
That's the only reason I stayed as well.
Yeah.
But there have been some that I wasn't really excited about, when it was revealed what the movie was, and then I ended up liking it okay. Like Ezra.
Yeah.
It was good.
Surprisingly, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice father-son story.
Mm-hmm.
Where the father's actually engaged in his kid's life. Yeah. The most recent Stand miniseries is even worse. Yeah, I
heard.
Yeah, I heard that wasn't great. And they pulled that whole device of cutting back and forth in time, where the whole point of that thing is the journey. You go on.
Oh.
Yeah. That to me blows it right there. But yeah, those mystery movies can be a real mixed bag, where, for every origin or for every It's a Wonderful Knife or every
Founders Day.
What the F movies like Founders Day. Or like Elisa Frankenstein, that I am actually starting to like the more I think about it.
It was
Um,
fun.
it's a fun one. Yeah.
I was happy to have enjoyed it. You had some really good ones, like One Life was
One
good.
Life.
They also had The Boys
American
in the Boat.
Fiction
Oh my gosh, American
was a
Fiction.
mystery movie.
Oof, I was so
And
happy when that came up.
yeah. And that's a movie that was up for Best Picture, and deservedly so.
Yeah.
You know, because it did everything right that Origin did wrong.
Also, I also compare it to the American Society of Magical Negroes.
Hmm.
It, you know, that movie tried to have this message thing, and it just completely failed at the delivery. And American Fiction was just so beautifully done. I really enjoyed that movie.
Whoopi is Mother Abigail. Hell no. Well, if it was Whoopi when she did Color Purple, if we could get that Whoopi Goldberg back,
The Whoopi from Ghost.
well, they gave her
I-
the Oscar for the wrong movie. I'm sorry. Ghost is fine for what it is, but
She was funny in there to me.
well, yeah, I mean, yeah, she was funny. I don't know if I would say that was
Oscar worthy
an
performance.
Oscar worthy performance necessarily,
Agreed.
but but with Color Purple, to me, I was like, who am I looking at? She disappears
Yeah.
into that character. You know, um, Girl Interrupted, she's playing a character. In everything else she's in, it's like, okay, you're just seeing Whoopi Goldberg.
Yeah. Exactly.
And I'm sorry, but that includes Ghost.
True.
But yeah, Carl didn't know there was a Stand remake. Good for you. If Tarantino remade The Stand, the kid would be in the movie. Both movies left out the kid. Okay, I don't know what character you're talking about then.
I never read The Stand.
Big ass book.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. And then he re-released it and made it an even bigger ass book.
Oh my gosh.
As he does. Stephen King needs an editor. He needs someone to edit his books, and he needs someone to edit his Twitter feed.
Oh, that guy! I swear.
Oh gosh.
He's just a nutcase.
He and Mark Hamill both.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I've mentioned it before, but despite being flawed, lowest budget, The Wisdom of Crocodiles is an interesting vampire movie.
I think
That
may have.
title's familiar.
Yeah. I think I might have already put that in my to watch list. The Wisdom of Crocodiles. It's in 1998. I do have that in my my watch list. It's Jude Law. Yeah. Yeah, I would like to. Definitely would like to watch this sometime. I have so many movies on my list, you guys.
Cleve says the character is only in the book. The kid had a toxic relationship with Trash Can Man. Not sure I want to know. Give a pyromaniac a nuclear weapon. Okay. What could possibly go wrong? Of course, the guy who's telling him to do it is the devil.
True.
Randall Flagg, a.k.a. the Walking Dude, a.k.a. he who walks behind the rose. Skinny Bones Jones. Wait, what? No. Too many jokes. For the Kid and Trash Can Man reference. Okay. I guess I'll have to look more into that. Man with No Face, yeah. Yeah, that's how it is. All right. Oh. Push another button. What? Wow, stereo. Okay, there we are. Hello,
What?
I'm back. That was kind of. I think I lost.
Oh, yeah,
I
face
lost audio and visual there for a moment. Okay,
Oh,
I'm back. All right. Face Off. We discussed that a while ago. Yeah. They're doing a sequel to Face Off.
yes, I heard.
Why?
I don't know, but they're bringing it back. Cage and Travolta are both back.
Wow. That's
Apparently,
Wait.
Yeah.
How?
apparently Adam
Is he gonna
Wingard's
be like
going to
a
direct it.
twin
Um,
brother or something?
Why both Troy brothers are dead? I know, but
Right. Is there like a hidden twin brother we don't know about?
I don't know.
They
I
were
wouldn't be
triplets.
surprised if they wrote it in.
They probably will do. Yeah, right, Enigma? Can't you tell? The movie was the movie was fun-ish, but then when I rewatched it, I mean, it was fun. I'd always liked it, but then because I like the concept, the whole idea of it, and I like seeing the dynamics when they had switched places that was going on. You know, like when Nick Cage is John Travolta living in his house with his family. You know. But then when I rewatched it for a discussion I had with Sound Booth Theater, I liked it less because I don't know. By that time, I was just really pickier than I had been when I watched it before, and I was just noticing all these things that were wrong with it. So, yeah, Gina Gershon, yeah, they're triplets.
Yeah, I can understand. I'm with you, Clue.
I'd rather have
The
rewatched
triplets,
Red
yeah.
Heat. That has Gina Gershon in it, but it's also a more
Yeah,
fun story.
she's in that too. Yeah.
Bound.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I'll be back in a minute.
He's going to get his copy of Bound.
Okay. I'll be in my bunk.
I can't know that.
My ears!
Yeah, exactly. What in the sphincter of hell are you playing at, girl?
Which one are you referring to, Clue? Because you'll thank me for Bound.
Just think of her as a guy. Or not.
Kinda.
Okay.
Maybe. Could be.
Maybe. It was the Wachowskis, so.
Yeah, Matanui, that's
Think of that what
something
you will.
we were kind of talking about that the other night.
Yeah. That's
When we were
maybe
talking about
not
Stephen King's It.
Yeah.
do that. Especially if you're going to go talking shit later on. You know?
Exactly.
Yeah. I was fascinated about a woman getting run over by an airplane, and
Yeah.
well, I think the bullet in the fall also
Yeah.
probably helped. You know.
I mean, I haven't seen this movie, but
You haven't
you're
seen
telling
Face-
me that someone gets shot falls from a plane and then gets run over by a plane. Yeah, that's dead.
Yeah, she was definitely dead. And right before that, she'd been sucking on Nicolas Cage's tongue.
So yeah,
She was
she's dead
undercover.
4 times.
I mean, she literally sucked on his tongue. That was like, ugh.
Ugh.
Gross. Oh my.
Wow.
Anyway.
You should
I mean,
watch
could
it.
she have been getting strangled at the same time? Maybe, intravenous drugs. I don't know. I mean, how
You should watch it, Troy, just for shits and giggles.
Oh, It sounds like the kind of movie I'd be totally into.
Enigma says, in the movie The Mountain Between Us, Kate Winslet had to direct her own sex scene because the director had no clue how to do those
I
scenes.
never saw that movie.
Stephen King should avoid them altogether. Yeah. Agreed. Just be careful that Pyromaniac doesn't create Godzilla. We're all screwed if he does that. So yeah, I mean, what do we think? We got a surprise on the first, and that's Godzilla -1 coming to streaming.
Finally, we've just been
yeah.
talking about this, how it wasn't
Yeah.
going to happen because Kong versus Godzilla and some sort
Right.
of legal stuff, and then there it is.
Yeah.
It was
I mean,
about
that
time.
might be the upside to all the push for streaming, that you can't almost keep stuff off of streaming at this point.
Have they released a digital? I mean, not a digital, sorry, physical copy of it yet? Because I don't
In Japan,
feel like oh, well.
and there is, I don't know if it's available here yet, but supposedly there is like a box set which has the movie and has a bunch of goodies and whatnot. That's like $150.
Oh. I'll pass on that till the price comes down.
Yeah. And hello to the Padawannabe who says he saw Godzilla -1 earlier tonight.
Good.
Right on.
So good. So,
Cool.
so
It
good.
is.
Love
I've
that.
seen it.
That took me so much by surprise.
Yeah.
Sorry, you've seen it.
Right. I've
Go ahead.
4 times now,
Oof.
including once in the -1 color version.
Oh, I almost
Which
went to go
is
see that and then I didn't.
Fantastic. I think I kind of prefer it
Really?
to black and white. Yeah. You were referencing the scene in it that still makes me wonder how no one made him remove it. Yeah. Yeah. Like I said,
I
he
heard
needs
about
editors.
this scene. Yeah,
Yeah.
I never read it. I heard about that though.
For Godzilla -1, for eBay, they're selling it for $76 for the deluxe.
Ah,
Is that an import?
okay.
Do they say it's like an import or
No, doesn't say nothing.
let me check Amazon.
It's at playasia.com.
Yeah, it might not be.
In the meantime, Carl is asking, what's next? Kong versus Predator versus Alien versus Transformers? Well,
Give me more ideas.
I know the most recent Transformers movie sets up a possible Transformers G.I. Joe crossover.
Yeah.
Oh, God, no.
Mhm.
Please, God,
Yeah.
no.
I did
And-
not like
For a while.
And as for Predator, there's going to be another one. Predator Badlands. And guess who's starring?
The girl from Furiosa?
No, Elle Fanning.
Oh,
Really?
Interesting.
okay.
Yeah, a girl who's like 80 pounds soaking wet is going
Exactly.
to take on
She's
Predator.
I swear, she's gonna just pick that effer up and throw him one-handed. I guarantee it. going to be no problem for her.
You know, and
I do
I
remember
don't-
that now. I
Isn't that
remember
stunning and
hearing-
brave?
Yeah.
Stunning
don't-
and brave.
I don't have a problem with a female lead in a Predator movie. Just give me somebody who's believable.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, when it comes to Prey, and my most watched review is still the review I did for Prey.
Okay.
My problem there is, who are all these Abercrombie and Fitch models? You know,
Yeah.
give me. Who are these kids? Give me Braves. They're supposed to be warriors. They're supposed to be hunters. I don't believe these people have been outside in their lives.
Yeah.
I had
You
an
know,
issue with her taking out the entire camp of trappers.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, she's not a Mary Sue. She's always having to, like, she has to use her brains to figure out how to take down the predator. Yeah, but meanwhile, you're trying to make us believe, and she had just hurt her foot too, and yet she's able to take out this whole camp of No.
When it comes to G.I. Joe, I'd rather just watch the old school cartoons.
Right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
They're better than anything you're going to see today. So, Prey was
Yeah,
okay though. Yeah, I mean it was okay, but
I would have liked to have
that
seen
was
it on the big
it.
screen, but
It's just okay.
I felt like it was way overrated, and the praise that was given to it, people were saying, "Oh, it's better than the first." Hell no, it was
No.
not.
No.
Not even close.
Don't even try with that. But they were acting like it was just, oh my gosh. I think maybe people were just starving for some new stuff, because this was still when, the theaters weren't back to normal yet. I do feel like that should have been on the big screen. But I was not as in love with it as so many other people seem to be.
No, I felt it was a streaming movie all the way.
Really?
Yeah.
Mm.
Didn't bother seeing the black and white cut. That was just a gimmick to me. It because the movie is such a throwback to the original movie anyway. Seeing it in black and white just kind of completed that for me. But again, my opinion. Queen Latifah is the Equalizer. Yeah, don't get me started on that. I didn't even make it through the first episode.
I've never even seen it. I don't.
Nah,
Don't bother.
Don't.
Even though I like Denzel Washington in his version, I prefer the original with Edward Woodward,
Oh yeah.
hands down.
Yeah.
I never even knew about that show until not long ago. So I had no idea that the movies were like remakes.
Well, how's the Predator going to fight Kong? Well, there isn't a Predator versus a Kong movie, Menanu. He was just kidding. So you know, probably. No, I'm kidding. No.
Nah.
No.
Oh, Deja Vu was
Yeah.
such a good movie. I love that
Look at that.
movie so much.
Yeah, I need to see that one.
So good.
Here's how the fight's going to go. Predator makes his appearance. Stomp.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know,
It's hard-
that's the kind of thing for a channel like How It Should Have Ended to do. You know?
Yeah. They're talking about remaking the remake of Battlestar Galactica. No. Yeah.
Remaking the remake of Battlestar Galactica. I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm not even terribly fired up about J. Michael Straczynski remaking Babylon 5. I loved Babylon 5 as it was.
Me too. When I heard that, like,
You know.
holy shit. You gotta be.
They can't seem to help themselves.
I get why he wants to do it. It's unlike George Lucas saying, well, it wasn't my original idea. I wanted to do this, that, and the other, and then doing special editions. It's really true. There was a lot of things that he had originally planned that got caca because of problems with the actors and their personal lives and the studios and being canceled after season 3 and then having to get it back up and running for season 4. You know, it was, you know, so I get it. I get he wants to do it the way he wanted to right from the beginning, but after he just did this, whatever it's called, this animated feature, just do that. Use animation and voice actors to do whatever series it is you want to do. Then you do not have to worry about anything. You don't have to worry about actors, cancellations, nothing. You have complete control to do all of it. And if you have to replace a voice actor, that's way easier than replacing an actor. You know what I mean, Shush.
Alrighty. Well, we've run a little bit over, so I think it's about time to start wrapping this puppy up. All right, I'm going to go one time around the horn. Connie, what do you have coming up?
Well, I'm kind of taking over Friday nights, movie nights on the channel that I'm on. And I'll be doing Frankenstein this week. The original Universal, so I'll be redoing up some of my videos that I have on my phone so I can put it out this week.
Right on. Never.
Well, let's see. I have. What day of the week is this?
Monday.
So Tuesday, we're over on, of course, Deleted Scenes channel for Sparkwood and 21. Actually, I forgot Monday. Monday, I'll be on Last Call at the Movies. I think
Monday night at the movies.
Yeah, it's like I gotta get your official title down. Being a guest host with that guy at the end of the bar. Tuesday will be on Deleted channel for Sparkwood and 21. Thursday, on Thursday Things, my guest will be Obnoxious and Anonymous, but he's really not. He's very sweet. Let's see. Then Friday, I'll be over on Last Call as co-host. Saturday, I'll be over on Big Al's channel. I can't remember the name of the movie.
A Gumball Rally or something like that?
Oh, okay. I don't think I know that one.
Yeah.
Being a co-host there. And that's it for the week for me.
All right. Troy.
Yep. So Monday night at the movies, tomorrow night, 8 Central, 9 Eastern, we will be doing a tomato twofer. We will be watching Fried Green Tomatoes and Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. That will be on my channel, 8 Central, 9 Eastern. Tuesday, over on right here on Deleted Scenes channel for Sparkwood and 21, and I just sent out that thumbnail for you guys.
Right on.
Thursday Things, I'll be on with Netter and Obnoxious and Anonymous. Friday, Last Call, be celebrating that I have achieved YouTube partnership. I am no longer a YouTube indentured servant.
Yay!
So
Congratulations.
we will definitely be celebrating over there, 9 Central, 10 Eastern, and I'll be drinking to celebrate. And then I'll be on with Netter for the movie on, what's his name? Big Al's channel.
Big Al Presents.
And then, of course, Geeky Geezers on Sunday over on Age of Boomers channel. Thanks, guys.
Sin.
I'm hoping to get my review for The Watchers up tomorrow, Tuesday maybe, and then maybe a little bit later in the week in A Violent Nature. But I have a lot of audiobook work to do, so I don't know. We'll see.
Right on. All right. I think it's back around to myself. I also hit a milestone. I have surpassed 100,000 views.
Nice.
So thank you all very much for continuing to support my channel and actually watch me mess around here on YouTube. And of course, I am, as of just before the show, 6 subscribers away from 2,200.
Congrats.
So,
Nice.
yeah, moving on up. All right, of course, let's see. Of course, Tuesday, Sparkwood and 21. That's 8:30 Eastern, 7:30 Central. Thursday, 4:30 p.m. I am going to be joining Jedi Bill for Action Theater. Film to be determined. So stay tuned to my community page. I'll let everybody know what's going on as soon as I find out what Bill has cooked up for us. He was in the chat earlier, so Bill, if you're still in the chat and you have decided on a movie, please let your co-host know what we're going to be doing. Please. I'll wash your car for a year. Please tell your co-host what you're doing. I'm sorry. This is hard. I tried to do the best. Oh, okay. I'm moving on. And scene. All right. So let's see. That's Thursday. Of course, later on that night, right after Thursday things, will be my weekend update. And then gets us back around to Sunday for Western Cinema Presents. And we're going to be watching Red River, the original John Wayne classic. And then, of course, Unscripted, as usual. I think I'm going to be doing a chat Q&A next week. I haven't done one of those in a while, so I'm going to be doing a chat Q&A show. I'm hoping to do a member stream sometime in the next week or so. I want to do a couple of those a month. So stay tuned for that. Let's see, Sunday, then of course also Sunday Unscripted, and right back here for the other side of midnight. All right. We have sufficiently drugged this out. We have a full show. We have to go to sleep. I'm going to hit myself over the head with a hammer, and because that usually seems to work. That's how I am this way. I hit myself with hammers, and it's actually quite fun. I got one just for that very occasion. And I do this because it makes Connie laugh. Or, I mean, it usually does. Okay, I got a little chuckle out of her. Okay, that's good. There you go. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna wrap this up as Michael Madsen as Dr. Frankenstein. All right, we're going to go one time around the horn of the any last words? No.
See everyone in the next stream. Peace and love.
Good night, everyone. Have a wonderful upcoming week.
Have a good
Yes,
Nos vemos.
Nenders Network, I know you usually like to close out the show with a
I
few
don't think anyone's
words.
still
about you.
awake to hear it.
Sashi's still here.
Hey,
It's
Sashi.
the middle of the day for him.
Sashi, that's right. His day's just getting started.
Well, it's 1:30 in the morning here, so technically my day has started, but I don't really need to be up.
2:40 here.
Yeah, it's I don't really need to be up until 7 a.m. So, yeah, I do need to get to bed. So, we could talk amongst ourselves, which we've been doing. And that's all well good and fun, but it is so much more fun when you guys are joining us in the chat and you're dropping comments, questions, trivia, being goofy, whatever it may be. And it doesn't feel like we're separated by miles or continents in some cases. Hi, Sashi. It feels like we're all hanging out in the same room, enjoying each other's company and having a great time. And you guys, you know you're not just our friends. You're our family. We appreciate you so very much. For those of you who are still here at this hour, well, for me, it's a really late hour of the morning. Thank you for being here. Thank you for encouraging all of us. I really love seeing y'all in our different chats, and hope to see you Monday on Troy's stream for his tomato twofer. But until then, good night and God bless.
All right, I'm Dr. Victor Frankenstein, and we had 42 people watching us tonight.
Nice.
So
Yeah.
stayed with us throughout the show, so thank you all for watching. To everybody in the chat, to everyone who joined us on Twitter and Rumble, and watch my movie Monster Mash. I think you're actually going to like it. From HQ, in all points, north, south, east, west, and beyond. Oh, I'm really drunk right now. Good night, take care. Stay strong, because this is how we win. I fight Dracula and the Universal Monsters.
Time to just go ahead and pull the plug.
Close it out. Yeah.
Bye, everyone.
Goodbye.
Night, everyone.